Hello, my name is Exabo, and this is Unity of Command 2 Barbarossa DLC Smolensk mission on hard. 3, 2, 1. Alright, so this mission, the Smolensk mission, is actually, there is something weird about it. I've never found it to be difficult, but I've heard from a number of people who actually found it to be a rather difficult to figure out mission, and I don't know why, because back when I was playing the Unity of Command 2 on Classic, I actually managed to do it in 2 tries. In the first try, I just made one little mistake, and I almost did a complete run of it. So for me, it's always been one of the easiest missions in the DLC, and I don't know for the life of me why some people have so much trouble with it. A few of the things, while I'm still kind of arranging all the troops and placing all of the reinforcements and specialist steps and shuffling all the supply hubs around, there are obviously a few things you need to keep in mind about Smolensk, and it is, first and foremost, this little pocket of Soviet troops. They have, especially on hard, but on classic this is true as well, the Soviets actually have very strong units in there. So they're not out of supply. They are, as you can see, there is like a tank with a tank specialist step, and it's a veteran tank also. So there is a mechanized division and there is a cavalry division. So all these guys can screw you over pretty hard. And you really need to keep that railway intact in your hands, because that's the only thing that feeds this entire map for you. So if the Soviets manage to cross it, well, you might just as well restart the mission, because it's very unlikely that you're going to take everything on time, even though generally most of the objectives in this game are not very difficult. And not very urgent, so most of them you have a little bit of wiggle room, a little bit of margin of error for in case you fail to take them, but a couple of them are somewhat more difficult. In any case, if the Soviets manage to cut the railway line leading from Barbarossa to Minsk, pretty much you're going to be out of commission, out of being able to properly fight for a couple of turns, and this is way too much for success. I actually made a it's not a significant mistake, but it made a notable mistake in this playthrough, which did not prevent me from winning. So the game certainly, the mission certainly provides you with certain amount of wiggle room and ability to kind of make mistakes and still succeed. And it's going to be around Babruysk. And I think I will talk about it slightly later when you'll see what mistake I'm going to make. But first and foremost, one thing that I didn't do right on my first ever playthrough, and it was actually a stream, so I generally play much worse on streams, probably performance anxiety or something. Yeah, I almost succeeded, and the problem was in Vitebsk. And so, as you have seen, I've already built bridges across that river that separates me from Vitebsk. And that I didn't do that. I was relying on probably being able to cross over to the town using that bridge, hoping that it would not be properly defended. And as you can see, it is very well defended. The Soviets have actually crap loads of troops in there, and they will not hesitate to counterattack, as you will see. So that area between Vitebsk and Orsha is rather dangerous. It can, if you have, especially on hard, but not uniquely, and in this case, I actually have been able to avoid that. But the Soviets tank divisions and motorized divisions, mechanized divisions, are very powerful there. As you can see, they've got their specialist steps there at full strength. Some of them, I think, no, actually none of them are experienced, and so, but they still can damage you. And on my first playthrough of this mission, I actually lost 2 tank divisions in there, and it's certainly not worth it. There will be, actually, I'll do a one of these videos is going to be about a mission where I lost considerably. I didn't play very well, but I was too lazy to replay it. But Smolensk, definitely don't let the Soviets cool, yeah, cause you to cause you to lose your speech, cause you too much damage, because this is not one of the harder missions, as I've already mentioned. So yeah, conserve your troops as well. Think about your losses. Think about the fact that these panzer groups are going to face much more difficult scenarios in Vyazma, in Yelnya, in ultimately Gates of Moscow. So make sure you don't lose too much. So make sure you build up those elite troops in your tanks. And so yeah, but the thing is that I hoped I would cross that bridge forward to Vitebsk, and it's kind of possible, but I don't think it's possible on turn 4, which is the deadline for the Vitebsk objective. And I found that the objectives past it's much easier to take the Vitebsk, the city of Vitebsk, the way I do right now. So building those bridges, those pontoon bridges, and crossing the river, and then breaking through, like destroying those Soviet troops, because even though they're numerous there, and by the way, the pocket is running out of supply, and I'm succeeding. I'm actually succeeding at containing them, and they're not gonna cause any problems anymore. And I'm getting plenty. Remember that you're getting plenty of infantry reinforcements that way from Baranovice, meaning that you can actually move some of that infantry towards Minsk and Borisov, etc. But at the same time, keep that pocket intact and sealed. And speaking back to Vitebsk, yes, there are plenty of Soviet enemy troops, but none of them is any particular strength. They're at full strength, but they're not experienced. They don't have any specialist steps. So if you have really strong tanks divisions, and you do, and I did here, you shouldn't have too much trouble actually breaking through and taking the city. And as you will see, it's just turn 2. Holy crap. This is gonna be a long mission, so if you don't know, this is about a half an hour footage. So let's look at what the Soviets have got to say and what to do. Well, they're not saying anything, but that's the mistake. That's the mistake that is very easy to make in Bobruisk. So the Soviet paratroopers crossing the river just to screw with you. They're gonna die. They're gonna die. They're just too weak, and I'm just too pissed off at them. And they're gonna die, but not before they screw you over. And I've realized that, and the whole reason I actually have troops past Bobruisk, right? So, like, the troops right now that are out of supply because, well, the Soviets have, blocked the railway, and I will not be able to kill them instead. So it's more of a disaster than I even thought. And I used up my both of my air support uses, and I failed to kill them, unfortunately. So the whole reason these guys that are around Bobruisk is so that I can take Zhlobin on turn 1 or 2. Like, you can actually take it on turn 1, even though the deadline is 11, so it's not really required. Even though it kind of gives you additional supply level, I wonder if it's really all that necessary. My suggestion, and I haven't tried it yet, my suggestion is to pull all your troops away from there. I think you should refocus to the north, and you do it anyway. As you can see, both of my tank divisions from Panzergruppe 2, from the 2nd Panzer Group, they are pushing towards the north, and I think it's not worth it, actually, hanging in that area in general. Your main thrust is at Orsha, and you will see that I eventually moved that Panzergruppe 2 HQ towards Minsk and then towards Orsha, and it took me forever for that HQ to actually get to those tank divisions that it's supposed to control and manage, right? So I think not trying to push around Bobruisk, it's a bit of a red herring by the scenario designers. I'm sure they kind of follow the actual events because they're pretty serious about that. So, but I think you should really just retreat there and push along the railway from Minsk to Borisov and Orsha and eventually Smolensk. And as you can see, I'm getting crap loads and crap loads and crap loads of reinforcements and most of these divisions will not participate in the battle. But don't forget that some of these divisions actually have specialist steps, so don't forget to use your transfer steps ability. It's extremely useful. It's one of the best abilities that, as far as now, only German HQs have, and it's certainly one of the best ones. I don't think they actually have it by default, so you'll have to spend prestige to get them, but it's certainly one of the best things you can spend prestige on, because some of the missions, especially on hard level, on hard difficulty, you really need to be able, because hard requires slightly tighter play style and really doesn't let you play very loosely. Okay, finally, I clear the railway, and finally Zlobin is safe. But you really needn't worry about it too much, because it's reachable by the deadline that the developers have set for the Vitebsk mine on turn 4. And look at what I'm doing. So I'm breaking here, and I'm advancing. I think I will try to advance towards Velizh, because actually that's a really good route to reach Yartsevo. Because right now, once Vitebsk is done, the most difficult objective is Yartsevo. Okay, so I've gone towards Velizh. Actually, I kind of expected to be on the other side of the river, but anyway. So, immediately send at least a couple of divisions there, because there will be some Soviet resistance in there. There'll be a couple of just straight Soviet divisions hanging about behind Smolensk. Nothing special for an elite, well-equipped tank division of yours, but they can cause trouble. They can just cause you to not take Yartsevo on time. But really, once Vitebsk is yours, once Yartsevo is yours, and you are in force around Yartsevo, the rest of the mission is gonna be pretty easy, and it's not gonna really cause you any trouble winning. At this point, the pocket between Baranovich and Minsk is almost over. Obviously, use this place, because the Soviets are constantly losing their supply. Use this place for your divisions to get experience, because most of these divisions will continue to be with you. But, these are divisions from the Army Group Center, and they will certainly be a part of some of the most difficult missions in this DLC. And so having more elite, more experienced veteran divisions is always great. Or even getting some experience so that you don't lose their veteran status when reinforcing, etc. So it's always great to have more experience. Alright, so I'm gradually moving, so prepare for a lot of that. So we've got crap loads of infantry divisions. Once again, as I've said, most of them are not going to participate in any combat, because eventually I'll just get tired of just moving them again. Because you really don't need them, and as you will see, spoiler alert, the Soviets are... interesting. So the Soviets actually did not have any troops in Smolensk. That's interesting. That's really interesting. I kind of didn't realize that. I actually didn't re-watch this playthrough, and actually played this playthrough is coming from around maybe a week ago, so I'm not exactly remembering every tiny detail. But as you can see, I'm gradually advancing towards Orsha, and it's kind of critical for you to take it. Obviously, your immediate objective right now is Yartsevo, and you have, I already have a couple of divisions there. And as you can see, I already run away from Zlobin. So I just leave that cavalry division, the only German cavalry division of the entire World War II, in Zlobin, so that the Soviets don't try and take it, even though they are very passive in that area, as they'll just, if they're able to, they'll just destroy the bridges and not advance. Even though I suspect if given the chance, they'll retake Zlobin, so it's not a great idea. Leaving it once you take it is not a great idea. But as you can see, I'm already sending the motorized divisions towards Minsk, and eventually they'll come to Orsha, and I think they'll help around Mogilov, because they're way too far to help around Smolensk and the eastern part of the map. Alright, so, and I'm gradually advancing, so moving, past Orsha, and I really need as much firepower around Yartsevo, because as you can see, the Soviets already have a bunch of divisions there, and obviously they have a division with an AT step covering Yartsevo itself, so it's gonna take some air support, it's gonna take some firepower, probably some losses. I don't exactly remember but it's not something that a single tank division can very easily take. And I think the Soviets will move that infantry division northeast of Smolensk just to intercept my tanks and make their lives slightly worse. Alright, I'm doing some clearing up, really just for experience. It's really not necessary. The guy near Polotsk, I found that division to be extremely passive. They're not trying to cross the river. They will not try to block your railway line, so they're just sitting there and waiting to die. Alright, and now for an endless train of infantry. Yes, yeah, I think in a couple of turns I'll get tired. Really, like, it's extremely annoying. Right now, just need to move and move. And imagine like being not just like a commander, being like someone who organizes the supply for this horde. This is insane. Just all of these movements and you need to feed them. Imagine you need to drink like 2 liters of water, a couple of liters of water every day if you're like a young man. Probably like the biggest consumer of all ages and genders in humanity, right? And yeah, and every division has like 12,000 people, all young men. So you've got like 24 tons of water every day per division, and you've got like a few dozen of those. And it's gonna be a train full of water every day. Yeah, in adverse conditions, in a war, not just in normal. Yeah, it's not just a festival. It's not Woodstock. No. Yeah, it's Woodstock with MP40s and Panzer IVs. A little tea break for me. And so, yeah, right now I'm doing a little bit of recon, so I'm playing it safe. Sometimes the game can bring, like, actually, compared to the Allied campaign, the original Allied campaign that the original game came with, or the base campaign, if you wish. One of my complaints about it when I played it, and like in my original review of Unity of Command 2, if you'd like to check it out, go ahead and check it out. I'll actually link to it at the end of this video. I'm not really happy about the sound quality in it. I actually did it with my crappy mic. By the way, I'm leaving Polotsk. I'm not even worrying about that tank division taking anything because they're extremely passive in the north. But back to my review, it was like with crappy audio. But I think I made a few points. And one of the points was that in the original campaign, you got way too much recon, right? So way too many recon planes. I'm suspecting the developers kind of miscalculated because it was a new feature. If you don't remember, or if you don't know, Unity of Command 1 did not have recon planes because, well, you pretty much saw what you see now. So you saw all of the enemy troops all at once. So there was no fog of war, effectively. So fog of war is actually one of the innovations of Unity of Command 2. And with the Allied campaign, you kind of got you've got crap loads of planes, like 20 plane uses, right? And you can use like 6 every turn, like that kind of level of crap loads. To a degree, to an extent, it makes sense because effectively once the Allies started landing in Europe, right, in Sicily, Italy, in Normandy, you got, and in southern France also, they pretty much had air superiority, right? So they had crap loads of planes, and they could afford to do that. But in terms of the game, you obviously want trade-offs. You want interesting choices. You want cost of opportunity. And actually, I think they achieved that in Blitzkrieg and in Barbarossa DLCs with the Germans. So you actually have those recon planes, but you have a limited number, and you actually need them sometimes because you really want to advance, or you like already playing it this incredibly frustrating mission for the nth time, and you know there's going to be enemy divisions around somewhere, and you really don't want your tanks to stop because that's the worst thing about that happens to tank. Oh god, I got crappy luck there. So Yartsevo is in ruins. And so my tanks will have to take some punishment. But this is actually a very good illustration. This is case in point for why you need a lot of firepower in Yartsov, just in case something like this happens. Just in case your air support fails and actually destroys the town, or it's probably a village. And well, yeah, makes it very difficult for you to take the objective. So it's a very good idea, and it's not difficult. As you can see, by turn 7, I have, 10 divisions in there, and 9, and they're pretty much well all ready to attack in Yartsevo, and so it's very important to have those reinforcements. And actually gradually advancing towards the rest of the objectives. I think Yelnya, which we'll see a lot of, and I think I haven't done Yelnya. Yeah, I haven't done Yelnya, so we'll see another one of these videos on hard videos in Yelnya. Actually, interestingly, didn't I? I've done one. Yeah, I've done Yelnya, and interestingly, experience in Yelnya is a very good, for me at least, was very much a litmus test of experience, right? So I actually had much less trouble playing Yelnya and succeeding in Yelnya on hard than on classic. But it was only solely because on classic I was playing it for the first, second, third, fifth time, and I had a lot of trouble dealing with the south. I didn't know what to do there, and had to deal with crap loads of Soviet troops. And you're facing crap loads there. And not to lose too many troops in Yelnya proper, because the Soviets are trying to attack you there, and they will do everything to kill as many of you as possible. So actually, in my classic playthrough, which I kind of still use in my cracking videos, which, like, the last one is coming reasonably soon, as always, actually lost a few high-value tank and motorized divisions there, and I actually got absolute crap by Vyazma-Rzev mission, and I had to give them experience somehow, and still was suffering from those losses by the gates of Moscow. And so, absolutely, and on the hard, I kind of made it, I think, on my second try, and on my first try, I just made a stupid mistake, and it just really just succeeded and did everything right. So experience and knowing what to do in the mission absolutely plays a huge role. And Yelnya is finally mine. Yelnya wasn't that difficult. As you can see, the Soviets don't have many troops yet. So between Roslavl and Smolensk and Yelnya, and at this point, I'm going to effectively encircle Smolensk. As far as I remember, the odds of attacking Smolensk were pretty crappy. You really don't need to take Smolensk on. I think the deadline was 10-14. Actually, that's one of the things they've changed. So in the on-release or just pre-release version, because I play the game pre-release, I'm happy to say, and I think Smolensk was like turn 11 and Mogilev was turn 14, and now it's the vice versa. So I think it was a mistake. They just corrected now. It looks like a mistake, right? So, and I think Roslavl was also, like, right now it's turn 14, as far as I remember, turn 11. I think it was a more urgent objective that actually extended the deadline. And now I'm feeling kind of relaxed in this because you can see the tanks are not doing anything at all. I don't know. It may be a mistake by the scenario designer, and they just left those units just passive, or maybe it's intentional. But I've already encircled Smolensk, and I think I'll faff about in Roslavl as well, because I have so much time to take these objectives. I can exchange time for blood. It's effectively not losing too many troops, too many of my actually elite troops of my tank and motorized divisions on these objectives. Actually, Roslavl is a really annoying objective in the sense that it gives you crap. It gives you a recon playing card. So, which I think it's like almost not, it's not arguable. It's not arguable. It's the worst card in the game, right? So it's generally you get some recons, a small number, at least a small number of recons in every mission, even like in the most difficult, like in the missions that are supposed to be difficult, are supposed to be, in which you are supposed to be on a shoestring and like not have too many resources. You still have some recon capability. So the card is crap. The card is crap, and that Roslavl objective is absolute crap as well. By extension, obviously it gives you it gives you 20 prestige, is always nice, but that's the best thing that objective gives you. And in addition to completing the mission at 100% with a gold medal and everything. And so I'm gradually advancing towards Roslavl, and the crappy objective of Roslavl, I really don't need to hold Yelnya, and I'm clearing those divisions because I can, because the predictions are good, and I just gathering experience for my tanks. And at this point, in Mogilev, you'll see what I'll start. First and foremost, by the way, as you can see, I've stopped, as you don't see actually, because we're waiting for the Soviet turn to load. But as you already see, I've stopped moving that infantry. I just got bored, and I've already moved all of my steps. So, and at this point, as you can see, I've got plenty of artillery. Oh God, I love my artillery. And like at this point, I knew that Mogilev would not be a problem, and I think I'll probably take it now because I'm already doing set piece attacks, and yes, they'll retreat. And so Mogilev is mine, and at this point, I'll just use these artillery guys to use, well, to do the special attacks with my HQ, because as far as I know, I've been told that artillery doesn't give you improvements to your battle predictions in normal battle, but they certainly give you bonuses in these abilities like set piece attacks in fire superiority. They make them so much stronger, and this is what I'll do, because the predictions, even with all that artillery, the battle predictions are pretty bad because the Soviets are sitting in the forest with entrenchments and with dirt, with muddy terrain, so it's like the perfect combo, or perfect defensive combo. And so at this point, I'm just gonna use my HQ abilities on these guys, because don't forget, HQ abilities, set piece attack, fire superiority, the battle abilities, fire superiority, feint attacks, they all give you experience. So if, for example, you have a unit that is under strength, and you maybe don't have many reinforcements, or you know you'll have them in the future, and that unit is, say, veteran or elite, I'd say just go for it. Just use feint attacks and everything so that they gather experience. Also, if your unit is, in my experience, this is just my experience, probably sometimes it's gonna be somewhat different. So, if your unit, you've got an elite unit, an elite infantry unit, an elite motorized infantry unit, and Smolensk is mine, way ahead of time. Oh, actually, in turn 11, actually, it was exactly on time. And I waited. I could have taken it earlier with some losses, but I decided against it, obviously. And so, if you've got an elite unit, and it's very under strength, it's got like 2 steps, don't worry about its elite status. Give it reinforcements so that it drops to veteran, because it loses the difference between, in terms of experience gain, the difference between elite and veteran is huge. So veterans get twice fewer experience that less experience, twice as less experience. Yeah, twice as fail in English. You get half the experience you get as a regular unit. So as a regular unit, you get 10%, 10 XP per suppression or kill, and as a veteran you get 5 XP per suppression or kill. But once you go over to elite, that you just get 20% of what you get as a veteran. So it's like 5, it's a 5 times drop. And I think it's just not worth it. It's much easier to lose, go back to veteran, strengthen that unit, and recover that elite status that way. Really, I think it's a more efficient and a better way. It's just there are just not enough enemies for you to kill to get lots of experience with elite troops. One exception to this is obviously tanks, right? So tanks generally are stronger. They are generally more capable of destroying enemy troops without losing any steps themselves. And so, yes, you can absolutely get 399 experience, which is the maximum, with tanks, and not worry about them not being elite, right? So, because they killed so much. And so here's me just being very slow around Loslav, being super careful, and I think at this point I'll take it and it'll be mine. Alright, guys, so this is not the end of the mission, but as you can see, I'm just, like, farming experience, and the mission is over. As you can see, you can actually take everything on... You can actually clear the map on this, in Smolensk, so I hope seeing this mission has helped you to succeed in it effectively. This is it for now, and I'll see you tomorrow with something. Cheers.